Hi, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for joining us on Jamaica Magazine. In my time, it was Common Entrance. Now it's the Grade 6 Achievement Test GSAT. D-Day is this Thursday and Friday. To the little ones who will be sitting the test, your best is good enough. On today's show, we look at the work of the Ministry of Education in improving literacy, getting students ready for GSAT and prepared for the world. Plus, it's Colon Cancer Awareness Month. We have the right information to help you prevent this serious illness. Education and health, that's our focus today. So, stick around.
No, son. A verb is an action word.
Parents need to become more involved in their children's education.
Parents are the first and in many cases the most important teachers.
Read with your children. Review their schoolwork. Visit their school.
Tapping and rapping and slapping, I said.
Nice! High five! Woo!
A good education will never decay.
Jamaicans are among the brightest people in the world. Yes, we are. Many persons schooled right here have been excelling in the global academic arena. This is partly because we have a solid education system, one that is constantly being reviewed and improved. Next, we get a timely update on the National Literacy Program on issues and answers.
Thanks for joining us for Issues and Answers. I'm Ian Boyne. Today we want to talk about literacy, a very important area as we think about development, as we think about what Jamaica needs to do to have sustainable economic growth. We have the National Literacy Coordinator in the Ministry of Education, Dr. Andre Hill, and he'll be telling us about the government's thrust to improve literacy. We thank you so much for your company. Dr. Hill, good to have you.
Thank you.
We have a serious challenge with literacy, and you know that this is one of our binding constraints. What is the Ministry of Education doing to tackle this problem?
Well, to begin with, the Education Task Force report, which was published in 2004, identified that the education system did have a significant challenge with reading development among our students, particularly at the primary level. And as such, one of the task force recommendations was that the Ministry of Education begin to give primary attention or focus to the development of literacy skills among the nation's children, particularly, as I said before, at the primary level. Hence, out of that recommendation was established the National Literacy Program, otherwise known as the National Comprehensive Literacy Program. And that saw in 2007 to the engagement of the first National Literacy Coordinator, my predecessor, Mrs. Laurel Brent-Harris, and the further engagement of 6 regional literacy coordinators who work in the 6 regional domains of our ministry. And in addition to that, the engagement of literacy specialists who had direct responsibility for engaging schools in the regions. And the goal of the program essentially is to consolidate all literacy initiatives within the ministry over the years and currently, so that we can ensure the realization of targets established both at the national, regional, and by extension school levels.
What are the actual figures having to do with literacy at the grade 4 level?
Right.
How have we been doing over the years? Are we improving? Is there a kind of a zigzag development?
Yes.
What do the figures tell us?
That's an interesting question. The genesis of the grade 4 literacy tests dates back to 1999, and then the statistics was about 42% of the grade 4 cohort at that time, indicating that they had mastered the test. Now the stats for 2013 are 76% 6.3%.
Oh, so that's quite a significant
Yes,
improvement.
the year before it was actually 74, and if I remember correctly, the year before that it was about 71, and I think also the year before it was 69. So it's clear that the students have been improving. Certainly, we would be happy if more of our students were mastering the tests at the first sitting, which is normally done in June. But looking at the trend of the data over the history of the exam, we can say definitively that students have been making significant strides.
And our target for the next few years, for example, is what? What levels are we aiming to bring our students to by the grade 4 level?
Well, again, I make reference to the task force report published in 2004. The recommendation was that by 2015, the grade 4 literacy level should be at 85%.
85.
Sometime after 2007, many stakeholders began speaking about 100% literacy. Now, that can be interpreted in two ways: 100% of the entire grade 4 cohort, or 100% of the so-called educable population. Now, however we define the term, the original task force report recommended a target of 85%. I have consulted with senior executives in the ministry, and I've indicated that the more realistic figure for 2015 is 85%, as the task force report had recommended. The question as to whether or not we will meet that target is another matter. But we will see what happens over the next year.
But when we
and a
come
half.
up, we talk about some of the initiatives which are supposed to lead us to the improvement in our national literacy. The National Literacy Coordinator, Dr. Andre Hill, is our guest on Issues and Answers. We take a break.
I find out that this program is a very good program because the purpose of this program is to target inner city youths that drop out of school, never get to make much of themselves. So this is like a second chance.
It's a good look and they need to try it. They need to try it because that is the way right now I'm seeing through life, because going to Angle Gun the other way, it not make no sense. You're gonna die.
What I'd have to say to the younger folks like me in the inner city, I will tell them that young is a dead end, and right now them for leg off of the negative energy and try to make something of themselves, try apply themselves as a better man in society, so them can be able to provide for them youths and them family without have to do anything illegal or police have to look for them or nothing like that.
The Citizen Security and Justice Program, CSJP, an initiative of the Ministry of National Security, empowering unattached youth in volatile communities while promoting peace-building initiatives.
Welcome back. We're speaking to the National Literacy Coordinator in the Ministry of Education, Dr. Andre Hill, and we're talking about the government's thrust to improve literacy levels in our primary and secondary schools. There are about 100 or so literacy specialists who are working with teachers in the schools to improve literacy rates. Let's talk about that thrust.
All right. Well, since September, under the USAID, we have been able to engage the services of an additional 90 reading specialists. We call them reading coaches. Yes, to work alongside the ministry's core reading officers, the 6 regional literacy coordinators and 6 literacy specialists that I mentioned in the previous segment. Now, these officers actually are currently engaging over 500 schools, and we have
500 schools?
At the primary level in particular, and we have 793 primary schools.
Okay.
Now, each reading coach is assigned a total of 5 schools. Each region, and there are 6 regions in the ministry's division, is assigned 15 reading coaches. The regional literacy coordinator supervises these officers, and the literacy specialist works alongside the regional coordinator, engaging the coaches as well as supervising literacy initiatives in assigned schools in clusters. Now, these coaches work particularly with teachers, building their skills, their competencies in reading and language instruction, and to some extent they engage students with pronounced reading difficulties and provide clinical attention to these students by way of assessment and diagnosis, and the introduction of remedial intervention programs to remedy the deficiencies where they exist. The coaches also engage the school administrators, the principals, by way of assisting them in determining what a good lesson should look like in literacy and language arts. They work very closely with their education officer colleagues, helping them also to appreciate what to look for whenever they make a site visit to a school, to a class, and see a language lesson in progress. By extension, the coaches also engage parents and community members via the PTA and other community fora, helping these individuals to further extend the work of the regular classroom teacher within the context of the home. So it's quite a lot of work that is being done, and I do believe, based on the results that we have been seeing over the years, that the work of the National Literacy Team is impacting in a positive way the development of literacy in our country.
Are you working keenly also with the principals of schools to ensure that they take on the literacy program and that they push that in the school?
Yes, we do that. We have seminars geared specifically for principals. Over the last few months, Mark, we engage principals in all regions, over 450 principals in conducting literacy walkthroughs. And that is essentially walking into a classroom as a school administrator and paying particular attention to the prescribed features of what you would describe as an excellent language arts literacy lesson, noting that the objectives are there, the materials are there, and the strategies or methodology with respect to teaching a particular topic in literacy are all connected and suited based on the developmental levels of the students as well as ability levels. So yes, we do important work with school administrators.
Do we have a national literacy committee?
We used to have a national literacy committee. Again, when my predecessor, Mrs. Laurel Brent Harris, was national literacy coordinator, there was a committee. I was a member of it at that time. Since then, the committee became defunct some time along the way. And actually, we are now in the process of re-establishing a national literacy committee.
When will that be done?
Well, we expect to have our first meeting sometime this month. And one of the primary tasks of this National Literacy Committee will be to give significant consideration to the draft language education policy, which, Mark you, was a document produced in 2001, which was designed to address the issues around literacy and language development in the education system.
Language meaning what? Patois versus English?
Well, we are speaking about the development of standard Jamaican English. But mark you, the policy the draft policy does consider the language situation of Jamaica. One in many people's mind, which is seemingly pitted against the use of the Jamaican Creole and that of the formal language, standard Jamaican English. So we will be giving consideration to the initial recommendations and considerations of the theories represented in the draft document, and will move to make recommendations to the executive of our ministry, and they will take it from there.
Yes. We thank you very much, Dr. Haley, for having been with us on Issues and Answers. The Ministry of Education is moving forward with thrust to have 85% of students at the primary level, grade 4 level, literate by
2015.
By 2015. We thank you for your company. Next week, we'll be back. Until then, Ian Bourne wishing you a pleasant day.
Motorists, know your rights as road users. If you're stopped by the police in a road check, the police have the right to ask for your driver's license and vehicle documents. If you don't have the documents on you, you can ask for 5 days to provide them at a convenient police station. If you don't have vehicle insurance, you can be prosecuted and face the court. If you fail to renew the registration license, the police are entitled to seize your vehicle. If the police wish to search your vehicle, they should tell you the reasonable grounds for wanting the search. If you are given a ticket, sign it only if you plan to pay the fine and not contest the charge in court. And please be reminded, children under 18 years must wear a seatbelt, even if they are seated in the back. Know your rights. Knowledge of the traffic road code makes it easier to work with the police as they do their job to make the road safer for you and everyone else.
We now turn the spotlight on health. To borrow a current tagline of the Jamaica Cancer Society, be in the know. Colon cancer affects everyone. We don't want you to be affected, so here is all you need to know on the subject.
The link between what we eat and our health cannot be overstated. What you put in your mouth today can have a big impact on you down the road. Apart from diabetes, diseases like colon cancer are real risks. And research by the World Health Organization suggests that even after a colon cancer diagnosis, eating right matters. Colorectal cancer, commonly known as bowel cancer, starts either in the large intestines or the rectum. It's a cancer that affects both men and women across the world, and in Jamaica, experts are concerned that it's getting more prevalent.
It's the third most common in both men and women. But importantly, in our population, it's on the increase.
So what's causing the increase in colorectal cancer cases locally? Well, some of it has to do with lifestyle choices, bad ones.
One of the things that has been implicated is our diet. A diet that is relatively high in fat and processed food. But not only diet, but perhaps the relative lack of exercise.
Fatty foods promote colorectal cancer by increasing the release of bile acids. Bile acids are degraded by bacteria in the colon, and the secondary bile acids have been shown to stimulate the growth of colorectal cancer. Research has also indicates that exercising can decrease colon cancer risk by up to 40%. Exercise can also reduce the incidence of other risk factors for colon cancer like obesity and diabetes. Specialists recommend at least 15 minutes of exercise every day and a plant-based diet. By simply increasing daily portions of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, persons can reduce their risk of colorectal cancer. Try this. Divide your plate into quarters. 3 of those quarters should be covered with fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. The remaining quarter should be covered with your lean protein, chicken, fish, or beans. According to Dr. Joseph Plummer, besides diet and exercise, there are other factors that increase the risk of colon cancer. At the top of the list,
the single most important risk for the general population is actually age. It's 80% of the time the cancers are going to occur in people over age 50. But other important risk factors would be a patient with a positive family history of colon cancer.
Dr. Plummer explains that if you have 2 first-degree relatives, mother, father, sister, or brother, who've been diagnosed with colon cancer, you are at a higher risk. Regular checkups are therefore crucial.
For the average person, we generally recommend having a colonoscopy at age 50. And if that is normal, really it does not need to be done for another 7 to 10 years. It's a relatively slow-growing cancer.
However, Dr. Plummer recommends that if you have a family history of the disease, you should do a screening test about 10 years before the age at which that family member was diagnosed.
In other words, if your relative was diagnosed at age 55, then perhaps you should not wait until age 50 to have your colonoscopy. You should have it done at age 45.
With the proper screening, colon cancer can be detected in the early stages of the disease before symptoms develop. At the earliest stage, the disease affects only the innermost layers of the intestines. Stage 1 cancer is in the inner layers of the colon. When the cancer has spread to the muscle wall of the colon, it's described as stage 2, and stage 3 is when it begins to affect the lymph nodes. Stage 4 is determined once the cancer begins to spread to other organs.
In our population, maybe 40 to 50% of the patients, when they present, have incurable disease. They have waited too long. In fact, they ignore the common symptoms.
Symptoms like abdominal pain and tenderness in the lower abdomen, blood in the stool, diarrhea, constipation, or other changes in bowel habits, narrow stools, and weight loss for no known reason. Colonoscopy and sigmoidoscopy are the imaging tests to screen for and diagnose colorectal cancer.
Special CT scan is an important third option, which is available in Jamaica. And then finally, there's a Barium enema.
According to colorectal surgeons, treatment and cure of colorectal cancer depend on the stage of the disease. In general, treatments may include surgery to remove cancer cells, chemotherapy to kill cancer cells, and radiation therapy to destroy cancerous tissue.
Colorectal cancer is a curable cancer. It's one that you are sure that detected at the right stage, you can be cured.
Dr. Plummer insists that the most effective way to prevent complications is to find out early if there is a problem and remove precancerous polyps before they turn cancerous. You may also lower your risk of developing colorectal cancer by managing the risk factors that you can control, like diet and physical activity. Choose foods and beverages in amounts that help achieve and maintain a healthy weight. Eat 5 or more servings of a variety of vegetables and fruits each day. Choose whole grains rather than processed grains. Limit your intake of red meat, avoid excessive amounts of alcohol, and get at least 30 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity 5 times per week.
So get out there and get busy. Be health-wise.
Know your numbers and control the keys to a healthier heart. Know the numbers for your blood pressure, cholesterol level, blood glucose level, and your weight and body mass index. Find out the risks they represent and what you need to do to stay healthy. Talk to your doctor and start making healthy lifestyle choices to prevent a heart attack or stroke.
Sunday is a family day. We like cook together, talk, share ideas, and help each other. We reason about things.
Trying to get those muscles moving. That's important to maintaining good health. Do you know what else is important to your health? The GOJ Health Card. Have you got yours? Registration started a few weeks ago and already thousands have signed up. The card available to all Jamaicans is the primary means by which citizens can access health services, including pharmaceuticals in the public sector. You can use the card to access drugs at public pharmacies and drug serve outlets. Also, this GOJ card gives you ease of access to medications on the vital, essential and necessary VEN drug list at no cost. Get your registration form at any of the regional health authorities. The application process takes 3 weeks. If you already have a National Health Fund card, then you don't need to apply for a GOJ card. Let's get healthy, as a healthy nation is a wealthy nation.
Did you know regular physical activity controls your weight, reduces your risk of cardiovascular diseases, reduces your risk for type 2 diabetes and metabolic syndrome, reduces your risk of some cancers, strengthens your bones and muscles, and increases your chance of living longer. Get active, get fit, stay healthy.
Our land has been suffering from immorality. The crime, the drugs, the bloodshed have only brought more sorrow.
We must change and give our children a brighter tomorrow. Let's renew our pledge to God as we work to heal our land and fellow man.
Across Jamaica
for righteousness.
Let's join hands.
Let's join hands across Jamaica
for righteousness.
Pray, eternal Father.
Bless this Jamaica land. Let's join hands and hearts together and make Jamaica a land of love.
Brothers and sisters, let us join hands together to make our country a great place.
As we go forth this week, consider this. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. From Greek philosopher Aristotle. Keep sending those emails to us, jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm, or send a tweet at JIS News. Click on jis.gov.jm, where you may find more news stories and features on all the issues featured in today's program. See you soon, and good luck to you GSAT students. Until then, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.